Last month brought the largest increase in manufacturing employment since 1998. Strongest growth in manufacturing in 12 years. The question is now, how do we keep that momentum going? How do we keep adding more and more jobs?
1848 is a pretty well-known number in Wisconsin. We know that's the year we became a state. What most people don't realize is 3 months before we became a state, the paper industry was born in Milwaukee. A mill was opened to make newsprint. As the industry matured, we needed water and wood. That was very prevalent in Milwaukee back in the mid-1800s. But people started moving north and finding more water and more wood, which are the backbone of the industry, and they ended up migrating to the Wisconsin River Valley and the Fox River Valley. And to this day, the concentration of paper mills in the Fox River Valley is still the highest in the world. Wisconsin has grown over the years, and so has the paper industry. We have been the largest paper producing state in America for over 50 years, and I'm certain we will be for more than the next 50 years. Most of the news you've heard about the paper industry in the last 10, 15 years has not been positive. We talk about mill closures, idling of machines. The picture has not been positive, and yeah, I can't deny that. But what that has meant is that there's a whole generation of kids and people who are going through high school now or just graduated from high school that aren't thinking about the paper industry at all. Even some of the people who work in the mills might be telling their kids, you might want to think of something else to do. Well, the problem that's going to cause the paper mills is, when we have all these people retire, who's going to take their place? Now, what we need in the future to make sure that we can protect these jobs are several. We talk about legislative initiatives that are moving forward in Madison and Washington. There are several that could be devastating to the paper industry. When you talk about climate change and cap and trade and regulatory burdens on air and water quality, and I'm not suggesting, and no one in the paper industry would suggest, that there shouldn't be regulations on air quality and water quality. I mean, we participate with the DNR and the EPA on a lot of different groups to try to work on regulations that can work for both sides, make sure that the environment is safe and protected, and that the paper industry is also. Because if you really think about it, if everybody would think about it, if the environment is not strong, the paper industry will not be strong. We need water, and we need wood for our raw materials. I mean, so it's kind of foolish to think that we don't want strong environmental regulations. But there are some that go too far.
We do tend to judge things by the paper industry, but paper is a much different industry than it was 10 years ago, and certainly vastly different than it was 50 years ago. So a good example, Georgia-Pacific, that over the last 5 years has had layoff after layoff of workers, and we've worked with them to retrain those workers. At the same time today, they probably have 20 open job orders out there, but for highly technical skilled people. But I think sometimes the headlines come out, and Georgia-Pacific is laying off, or Miro is closing, or this one's closing, and the public doesn't see that underneath there are these smaller companies, some of them brand new startup companies, 20 employees, 35, 50 employees, and some of those are growing very quickly.
We're a manufacturer of capital goods, supplying equipment to the printing market, the conventional printing market, and also the digital print market, all in web printing opportunities. Our media in this country has no clue, as they do in many things, in my opinion, but in the manufacturing arena, they have no clue. What media doesn't realize is even some of these big layoffs that you see, as the paper industry is a good example, there are many mills that are operating today with more tonnage than they ever operated before, but they have 1/3 fewer people. Now, some of the older mills have been closed down, but manufacturing today continues to thrive. And where it thrives and where it's gotten its advantages through productivity. So a lot of the drop you see in overall manufacturing jobs has not necessarily been due to moving out. It has been due to increased productivity by a lot of the manufacturers who are left. What can be done is we as manufacturers have to tell the story. Nobody else can tell it for us.
It's the manufacturer's fault. They simply fell asleep at the wheel for a generation or two. In terms of encouraging young people to see the benefits and see the attractiveness of the employment opportunities that they had.
People have not made this distinction between old manufacturing and new manufacturing, and the manufacturers themselves have not been able certainly not found a vehicle to get that out to the public, to say, no, this is not your father's manufacturing.